Good morning. I feel really honored to be a part of this scientific session, and for that, I especially thank the respected organizers, Dr. Gaurav Gandhi and her team. To introduce myself, I am just like a tiny droplet in this World Congress of renowned infertility specialists. I am from a district hospital in Delhi. As I told you, I'm still in the learning phase, so is my topic of study, highlighting the role of history and examination in infertility management. I've divided the aims of my study into three parts. The first two dealing with the infertility investigation, specifically the tubal patency test and the thyroid function test, and the last part dealing with the ovulation adjunct use on the basis of history only. To be familiar with the study demographics, I wish to first specify that all my results deal with only natural cycles or IUI, and the age of the females considered in the study is all below 35 years. And belonging to the socioeconomic strata, I've specifically introduced that because for every step in the management I take for my infertility management, I have to first weigh this cost effectiveness of any investigation or treatment. And all of these were fresh cases, including both primary and secondary. As recommended by various organizations, the basic infertility tests are the semen analysis. On this, I just want to comment that the sperm function tests are not a part of routine investigations. They are usually done in the research settings, probably because since I have a first-hand experience on that, the semen preparation techniques that we use, especially the double density gradient, they take care of the subtle functional abnormalities. Secondly is the assessing of the ovulation. Again, for ovulation, for women who have regular menstrual cycles, we can presume that they're having normal ovulation. The next is the tubal patency functions, which I will be stressing on in the subsequent slides. The imaging of the uterus, and then the postcoital test, which is again now an obsolete investigation. Coming to the tubal patency test, it has been recommended by various authors that infertile women with comorbid conditions like PID, previous ectopic, previous tubal surgery, or endometriosis should have a laparoscopy done, and couple proceeding for ART should undergo both laparoscopy and hysteroscopy. There have been various studies in which they've compared the advantages and disadvantages of hysterosalpingography, laparoscopy, and sonosalpingography over one another. But in my study, I've compared the HSD findings with the abnormal pelvic examination, and subtle findings as adnexal thickening, restricted mobility, or even abnormal uterine contour have been included as positive findings. And in my study, I included the negative predictive value when compared to HSD findings was as high as 88.8%. Next, coming to the thyroid function test, we are all aware that subclinical hypothyroidism may be associated with ovulatory dysfunction and adverse pregnancy outcome. So the various conditions in which the thyroid function tests are ordered for infertile women are definitely menstrual cycle abnormalities, ovulatory dysfunction, recurrent pregnancy loss, and signs or symptoms suggestive of thyroid disorder. Among the 100 infertile women whom I screened in my study, hyperthyroidism was not an issue. So does that mean that we can do away with serum TSH alone? Next was that among all the various clinical findings which I included in the study was facial puffiness, which is so easy to characterize the moment the patient enters your clinic. And the positive predictive value when compared to hypothyroidism was as high as 97.29%. So now last, coming to metformin as an ovulation adjunct. With Dr. Stuart Lavery sitting here, and I'm sure so much of controversies about metformin use. I would definitely be asked too many questions on its use, but we are all aware that physiologic states of insulin resistance, such as obesity and diabetes, have been linked to female reproductive function abnormalities. And the maternal insulin resistance has also been found to cause oxidative stress and mitochondrial dysfunction in the oocytes. So, believing the fact that metformin is not known to have any teratogenicity in humans, and excluding the most controversial part of the women with PCOS and the known diabetics, metformin in the dose of 500 milligrams thrice a day was prescribed to women with a family history of diabetes, with the ovulation induction agent being clomiphene citrate. And we found a definite benefit on using metformin in the form of regular cycles, no LUFS cycles, timely selection of the dominant follicle, and the acceptable egg size. So from the studies, various studies, I can conclude that women with normal pelvic examination may be given a trial of ovulation induction with or without IUI. Facial puffiness is a useful marker of subclinical hypothyroidism, and metformin is a useful adjunct to ovulation induction in women with family history of diabetes. I wish, just as NHS has the recommendations for obstetric management in the CMACE report 2010, similarly we would soon have some back to the basics chapter on infertility. Thank you.